Bleh.
Now, as far as weapons goes, I really liked Weapons. I think the marketing and the word of mouth for that movie is a little deceptive because it's really a very straightforward film and there's really not a lot to unpack about it. And that's not a bad thing. I thought it was a really fun, interesting horror movie with a great reveal at the end, like a very cathartic scene at the end. But there was really nothing secret or tricky or twisty about it. I just thought it was just a really well constructed horror film.
I loved everything about Weapons. I think thematically it's very deep. I feel like there's a lot of stuff going on there. There's a lot of different messaging there. Like in terms of like the actual like plot of like what is happening. Yeah,
That's what I meant. There is
right.
definitely thematic stuff going on there. Absolutely.
There's so much thematic stuff going on. Yeah, I mean it's pretty in the same way. I wouldn't compare the two. It's apples and oranges, but a lot of people complained about Mandy saying that like there's like nothing happens, like that there's no like plot to Mandy. And I always kind of shook my head. I was like, oh my God, there's so much going on here. It's just not in the plot, it's in the character. There's so much character backstory that's told visually in Mandy. And in the same way, I feel like Weapons, there's so much character.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the plot is pretty like straightforward, despite the way that it's presented in this non-linear fashion, which is what makes it feel, less straightforward. And I loved it, man. It was like I buckled up. I knew it was going to be a ride, and I went with it. I didn't care where it was going. I was down for, and I was pleasantly surprised where it took us. And then I started to think about what the title meant and how the title related to things and how what it meant, just so many little connections and things. And I see that it's a very polarizing film, and I just don't understand. I just find it interesting that it's so polarizing.
I saw a few reviews that were like, and they'll remain nameless. I don't like to call people out. Where it was just like, well, that's all it was, or like that was it. And I'm just kind of like, what do you like? Nobody knew anything going into the movie anyway, so why would you say that's all there is? You had no expectations. Most people didn't. So like,
right.
I don't really know. Like, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. It's a movie about a witch. It's Hansel and Gretel meets Watcher in the Woods, basically, and that's pretty much what it is. Or the Pied Piper, a little bit of Pied Piper in there too. Like, it's just a witch abducting kids to gain youth again, and she has a magic wand that she uses to kill people in pretty horrible ways. And I thought Amy Madigan was great as Aunt Gladys. Holy shit. Like, talk about like a Longlegs, character. Like,
yes,
last year was Longlegs, Nicolas Cage. This year it's Amy Madigan with that Ronald McDonald visage that's nightmarish. Like, just her waving in the woods. Like, here's the thing, though. I will say that I am starting to get a little tired of chapter breaks in movies. The same thing with Strange Darling did it too, and it wasn't necessary. Also, I'm an adult. I can figure out time jumps. I don't need chapter breaks with people's names. You can just cut to a different time, and I can figure it out. Like, I don't think that really served much of a purpose other than to make it seem frou-frou a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't necessary for me. Like, I can follow a movie pretty easily without you having chapter breaks. I
welcomed the nonlinear interconnectedness of it all. I thought I really enjoyed that. In terms of like the thematic messaging, I saw a lot. I mean, there's, he said that there's alcoholism, obviously, but I just thought about like, just the idea of like, you don't know what kids are going through, or like what someone's going through in their home life, that sort of thing. Latchkey parent, parentification of children, for sure.
Yeah. What's really going on with kids, with the relationships between kids and parents. It turns out that, the Josh Brolin's character who's, misses his kid. He doesn't really tell him that he loves him a lot. So the kid's an asshole to the other kids. He's a bully, which is kind of the reveal at the end, is that his kid is the bully.
Right.
So that was a nice little twist. But yes, there's a lot to be said about, do you really know what's going on with your kids? What are your relationship like with your kids? Small towns, secrets in small towns, how, this
Oh yeah,
symbiotic parasitic relationship. It shows it right on the chalkboard when the movie first starts, parasite and the definition of a parasite. And she is a parasite. So
she's a parasite, but you know what else? Another aspect of like unhealthy family dynamics. She's sort of like the personification of like toxic narcissism that runs in families. She like the witch is literally a metaphor for a narcissist who turns family members against each other and takes the family hostage and worms their way and poisons everybody's relationships and turns people into weapons, literal weapons against each other.
Humans, exactly.
Right, weaponizing humans. And then another layer is like, what are the weapons? That children are weapons. We teach children how to hate. We teach we raise children a certain way, and we turn them into weapons, and they grow up and they become radicalized and weaponized in a variety of ways. So I thought there were so many different layers. And then we got this, because he's like Jordan Peele, he comes from sketch comedy. We have all these incredible comedic beats. The stuff with the meth head kid was just amazing, absolutely amazing. I was following along, and I just like, I really feel like I'm watching now. I feel like I'm watching like Tarantino or some sort of like, what was that Spanish film called?
Amores Perros?
Not Amos Perros, but there's that too. No, it's called Strange Tales, I think. I don't know if you've ever seen Strange Tales.
Strange Tales. Yeah.
It kind of felt like a little segment out of Strange Tales. I really loved Weapons. I loved Barbarian too. I think this was a big jump.
I like the little Justin Long cameo. I was like, oh, that's it. But nice little cameo. But yeah, it is definitely, even when the dad is like, it's like, I don't even know your Aunt Gladys that well, but she's family, so we got to take care of her. That's like the death knell for a lot of people, as they feel a responsibility to take care of family members, even if they don't know them well, where, even if the danger's there, it's just like, well, she's family. So, we kind of have to, so they're almost like trapped, and they're obligated to help their doom, basically. So,
but what's interesting is we don't even know, like, it's implied, there is like sort of a bit of an implication that she might not even be related to any of them, which I found to be very interesting. There are many ways that you could kind of like, clearly she talks about consumption. She references consumption. So she's very old, like very, very old. If she is actually biologically like blood related to this family, it's almost like she's a parasite on the family that sort of comes back every once in a while to see what her bloodline is up to and takes advantage of them. Or maybe she's just not related to them at all, and she's just sort of tricked them. And she was around when they last saw her 15 years ago, and she kind of has like bookmarked this family for destruction when she needs to, rejuvenate her body.
Yeah, she could have easily insinuated herself into their family like a parasite does. Absolutely.
Right. You just don't know
when she entered into the equation. Exactly.
What is interesting though, if it is her like family line, like her lineage, her legacy, one thing that connects to that is the fact that she kind of like she turns the kid, she parentifies the kid, making the kid take care of everybody.
Yeah.
But she keeps him like alive. She doesn't actually harm the kid. She of course she harms the kid emotionally and mentally, but she doesn't physically harm the kid. It's like she needs him intact, not only to be her helper, but to also almost as if like he is like the link potentially to like, hey, I can't prey on your family if anything bad happens to you. So I need you to grow up to have kids so that someday I can bug their children at some point,
like a vicious cycle. Yeah.
Like a vicious cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. And she, her hubris is that she never in a million years would expect that he would turn on her because he's a kid and he's terrified. And
right.
But that whole final sequence was just masterfully done. Like, because you can feel something's about to happen. You don't know what, but you're like, oh, kid, come on, get that wand. And then when that breaks loose, that whole scene, you're just like, it's a callback to the beginning of the film when in the night when they're running, and it's a perfect matchup.
Yeah.
I loved it. Absolutely.
Oh, and that needle, that George Harrison Beware of Darkness needle drop. I was like, I said going in, I was like, this guy better have a needle drop as good as Be My Baby for Barbarian. And he delivered. And to your point about the final scene and him, figuring out how to do the wand trick, that's another aspect of weapons, but B, in passing things down to children, teaching children, weapons of harm. He learns from this adult how to do this very destructive thing, and then turns on the adult and uses the very destructive thing against the adult, which I found to be very interesting. This was something that this kid doesn't have a bad bone in his body, and yet he's so complicit in all of these crimes against his will, because his parents are held hostage. And yet he turns on her with this incredibly violent act that she, wields against everybody else. I thought that was very interesting too.
And I like that the kids weren't instantly cured. Some of them were, some of them weren't. The parents had to go to
trauma,
a mental asylum because they were so
trauma.
Yeah, that's messed up, and it's good.
PTSD.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's not just like a happy ending. It's not just like that. Yeah, it's funny. It is a little bit of Hansel and Gretel. I didn't realize that. That was a good call right there.
Yeah, definitely a lot of dark Grimm's fairy tales kind of updated. So yeah, now we've got Ari Aster, we've got Zach Cregger, and we've got Jordan Peele, all just nailing it, at least in my opinion.
And Oz Perkins.
Perkins, I'm so sorry. I love Oz Perkins. The monkey was hysterical.
There's another one too. There's a fifth guy. I'm trying to think of who it is. Ari Aster, Jordan Peele. Oh, Robert Eggers.
Yeah.
Eggers. 5.
I still don't know how I feel about Nosferatu. I need to watch it again.
I like Nosferatu.
The audience I watched it with they were bursting out laughing through most of the movie. So
because he was sexually humping while he was drinking.
I'm trying to figure out if Robert Eggers meant it to be funny, or it's so arch that people just couldn't help but laugh.
The problem that Eggers faced, and I thought he did fine with. I enjoyed Nosferatu. It didn't really feel like a horror film to me. It was just more of a very dreadful period piece. What he was up against was something so iconic and institutionalized. It's like, how the fuck do you do Nosferatu?
And it's hard because people have seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's basically Bram Stoker's Dracula. So
right, it's like, so I'm gonna give Nosferatu a mustache. What else can I fucking do?
It looks fantastic. I need to revisit. I got that Blu-ray.
I'm gonna rewatch it.
Director's cut or whatever. I'm gonna have to check. Maybe we'll do a show. Let's do a show on Nosferatu.
I would love to do. I mean, listen, honestly, just doing this with you right now, I'm like, can we just get back after Genre Blast and everything? Let us get back into the habit of talking movies, because
yes, I've got a lot that I'd like to talk to you about. As far as these
I'm down. I've been seriously lacking on the movie review stuff, which actually brings us to the hour.